Not getting the note on Facebook that we're live.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Okay, looks like we're rolling.
Okay.
Phew. Okay.
Yeah, just got it.
Sweet. All right, since we don't have a guest here today, there's nobody to heckle.
I know.
And it's just you and me. We talk about all this serious stuff.
We do, don't we? Serious and crazy.
Oh, I got my my earphones. They showed up yesterday.
Oh, that was quick.
Well, for a custom job and everything, they're amazing.
Well, just since the time that you sent the photo that they said that the photo that they sent you from the factory.
Oh yeah, well, pretty cool little process. So the guy, Dr. John from Noble Audio, his brother is here in Texas, and then he's in Thailand, and his brother sources the wood blanks or whatever it is. It could be a steel, Damascus steel block or whatever they're going to make these things out of. And then they have the CNC machine in Texas, and they cut out the earpiece. That's also if you do like custom in-ear monitors. They'll do that there too, do all the CAD work and everything. And then they have the rough cut out, and then they ship it to Dr. John in Thailand. And he does the final work, cutting it out of the block and then getting up their microscope and tuning it in. And then he does the finishing as well. Sends it back to Texas where they do all the boxing and packaging. Yeah, and put the cord on and everything like that and send it out. And it's quite the presentation. But man, what he made
sounds like a logistics nightmare.
Well, it's two brothers, so it's not that bad, but
sure.
All right. Well, 5 seconds.
Dun, dun.
All right. And we're starting in desktop share mode today, because we're going to be doing a lot of that. And,
you are.
Yeah, I guess I am. You're kind of not doing shit, so you better talk a lot.
Hey, I wanted to do it. It's all
I know
good.
I robbed you.
We'll go back and forth. We'll share.
All right. And here
so
comes
we'll give a little bit of time for people to jump on, but sort of a new process for us this Friday, huh?
Yeah, different show. So we figured we'd do a little testament to the Podfather. If you guys don't know, there's the original maker of podcasts was Adam Curry from he was a MTV VJ, and he's got his own podcast.
Alan probably knows who he is.
Raise those comments up there, but the Adam and John C. Dvorak have a podcast called No Agenda, where they just deconstruct the news. So they share the news, and then they share like what's not right, what is truthful, that kind of thing. And you know, it really inspires you to trust the media. Totally. So anyway, it's been fans of the podcasting format for years and really like what they do. So at least from a format perspective, whatever you lean and how they might cover a topic, that's for you to decide. Yeah. But we're going to do that today. We're not going to deconstruct things like they do, but we're going to talk about things in the car business and maybe share a couple of new insights as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's as fun to deconstruct news in the automotive business.
Well, you can talk
We don't
about
have
some
any.
motivations.
Yeah, but we don't have any fun conspiracy theories in the automotive business. At least not that I'm
Bullshit.
aware of.
Are you kidding me? When was the last time you talked to one of your sales agents?
Well, yeah, I guess those type.
So, Refresh Friday, if you didn't know, you can watch it on YouTube, and all of our Refresh Friday episodes are up there. You can also catch it right here on Facebook, where most of you are listening.
Mm-hmm.
And you can reach
LinkedIn.
any of these on, sorry, this thing is overriding. There we go. On DealerRefresh.com itself.
Yeah. Also LinkedIn.
That's
Although,
right.
are they archiving it yet on LinkedIn, or do you have to scroll through the main page?
It seems like you have to scroll through the main page.
Yeah, you would think they would add a video tab. Maybe since it's fairly new, who knows? And maybe they do. We just haven't been able to find it yet.
Let's see, Ryan Leslie. Okay, thank you, Ryan. We will definitely be doing our best Ron Burgundies today, and
Yeah.
there will be some bloopers for sure. I have a feeling without a guest here, we might be a little unleashed to say things that could get us in trouble. So, with that, let's dive right in. First off, one of the things we don't do enough of is talk about our sponsors. And
Very true.
there are three we'd like to highlight today. The first one is our newest. This is Auto Sigma, who is a startup company, and they're specializing in marketing automation. And we're hoping that they get into the forum soon and start to talk more about who they are and what they do. But for sure, the future of marketing is going to be in automation. It's not in doing anything manual. And they're offering a beta program to the Dealer Refresh community right now.
Do they have their own forum set up? Because a lot of our sponsors, whenever they sign up, they get the separate forum. So that gives them the opportunity to publish press releases, and if they want to start a conversation or use it for, best practices within their platform. Are they taking advantage of that?
They have their own forum, but they haven't gotten in there yet. And we realize that can be a little hard to get started. So we'll keep encouraging them to get in there.
Yeah, it's such a great opportunity.
And then next up is Auto Encabulator. So if you haven't seen good old Chad all over the place, let's see. There's one from him today.
There's non-obnoxious ads.
Chad's amazing. If you get a chance, have one of his cupcakes. And then also watch anything Grant Cardone does on LinkedIn. Look for Chad's comments. They're my favorite.
Oh, really?
Oh, he trolls the hell out of Grant.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
God. I got to check that out.
Yep. And then lastly, we got to thank cars.com, the whole Cars group over there. There's a lot of individuals who
the whole
helped
family
us through the year. Yeah, the whole family. It's Dealer Inspired, Dealer Rater, and Cars.com. And we have them regularly on the show. I think somewhere at least twice a quarter. We try to have them on. And it's everyone from Alex Fetter to Joe Chura, Joe Pastel. We deal with Jacob Whitler a lot and Christine Spignelli. And then, of course, Darren Haygood's been on a number of times, the SEO team. There's been so many over at Cars.com, and, they help to keep the lights on Dealer Refresh. The sponsorships help to keep the servers up and enhancements and things like that. Because Jeff and I, this isn't our full-time gig. So help is always appreciated.
We need some actual physical help. No, and Cars has been a sponsor with Dealer Refresh for many years. Many years.
Yeah. So with
So what
that,
else? What else is going on?
well, let's start with the first thing on the agenda today. Fair.
Mm,
Jeff,
what's
I
going
thought
on
you
with
wanted to talk
Fair?
about this one a bit.
Well, I was reading about. From what I gather, they're ending their subscription, their leasing program, um, and apparently they're going to bring that to an end. From what I was reading here, I can read a few things. They stopped signing up new subscriptions and lease customers. Uh, Actually, they've already stopped, and as the company considers to consider a possible bankruptcy filing. So, from what I gather, they're going to maybe file for bankruptcy, and then as they're doing that, they're going to convert the business into a guess what? Just take a wild guess.
No, not a digital retailing platform.
It's more well. There's this new trend out there. So they're going to convert the business over into a third-party marketplace,
Sell cars
and
online.
yeah, you
Mm.
got it. You
Mm.
got it. We're going to see more and more of that. I think. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm trying to be optimistic about it,
Well, I think
but
that once the dealers are a little more in tune and awakened to these competitors like Carvana, Vroom, now these guys, um, you know, they're gonna bring their resources and innovation to bear, and it's going to be a hell of a fight. My money's
well,
on the
apparently,
dealers.
yeah. So apparently, they stopped their vehicle subscription and leases about 4 months ago, and they have an estimated, I think, between 5 to 10,000. Awfully wide estimation there. Um, 5 to 10,000 vehicles remaining in their inventory. So my guess would be that they would turn those around and sell them on the platform. Of course, that would make the most sense. Um,
Not if you're declaring bankruptcy. Those are assets
well,
that
that's
might get
true too.
taken.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how they would write that up.
Hmm.
Hmm. They were going to go after some additional capital. They decided not to. That capital would have required that capital was required in order to scale beyond California and Florida, which right now are the only two states that they remain in. Um, they were in a few other markets, but they left those markets, and so I guess they're going to go back and just try this new marketplace out just with California and Florida.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
How about
could be
another big
interesting.
one?
Well, there's referring to Rocket Auto.
Oh, yeah.
So with yeah, so Rocket Auto, they're going to be a digital automotive retail marketplace. And I've got the press release pulled up. It's funny; these press releases always they start off the same, just about. Buying a car is one of the largest purchases anyone makes in their lifetime, but the process can be intimidating and overwhelming. I think they all start off that way. Rocket Auto is reimagining this experience by building a marketplace with massive inventory and tools specifically engineered to make it stress free. Um, we've used Rocket companies, and of course, if you know, probably a lot of people are familiar with was it Rocket Loans, Rocket Homes. They just throw a rocket in the front of some type of
Sounds
industry
like
and
auto
take over.
encabulator. They've got a rocket ship
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So I know we've had the discussion over in the forums around this. I believe Ryan Everson brought it up.
Oh, he had a
I reached.
phenomenal response in to John Quinn in the forums
Oh,
in
in
regards to
forums.
Rocket. Yep, that's worth a
Well,
read.
let's touch on that after. Yeah, I'll finish this up. I reached out to Jeff Rabb over at Rocket Auto, and from what I hear, he's out of town right now. But I'm hoping when he gets back, he gives me a call. Maybe we'll have them on for a Refresh Friday and just discuss, see what all they got going. Um, you know, again, you've got Fair. You've got, when you go there, you got TrueCar. You've got, a lot of companies wanting to become a new marketplace, and of course, I guess their pocket of success is going to be having the opportunity for the customer to actually purchase the vehicle right through their marketplace. Of course, with Rocket having, Rocket loans, and I know, if I'm not mistaken, they've been actually working with Vroom over the past few years, supporting their sales. So they've got some experience around that. Um, what else did I have here in the notes? Let's see. Dealers have the opportunity to display their inventory in front of 14 million Americans who have a relationship with Rocket Mortgage, Rocket Homes, and Rocket Loans. So it sounds like they're sort of going to consolidate their customer base in order to get, the dealership's inventory out there in front of the customers. And they expect to add new car sales and leasing to its used car inventory in 2022. So, what was over in the forums? I think I missed some of that, or at least some of the latest conversation around it.
Well, the gist of it was Quinn was giving it the poo poo, basically.
Quinn,
like I've been, yeah, like I've been around long enough to see the phone invented. That was going to replace salesman kind of thing. And then Ryan came to counter, but Ryan, in his truly diplomatic fashion, countered in a very nice way. And anyway, it's a good read to hear Quinn's side and Ryan's side. And if we have Rocket on a future Refresh Friday, we'll be sure to bring that up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I need to jump back into that thread and check it out.
Now there's the comment of the day right there.
Just what the world needs, another car site. True that, Alex. True that.
All right. So moving on for a moment. Next up, we touched on this with Brian Pash on the last Refresh Friday. So we talked about the layoffs that were going on and how tough it's been to be a vendor since COVID hit. So just to recap a little bit, you think about the quarantine that came in and the non-essential shutdowns that occurred on dealership sales, and how the cutting of vendors in hard times, and understandable, is going to occur, and that absolutely happened. And then you had the behemoths who came out and immediately gave a 50% off discount, which actually was, I think, for a lot of vendors, believe it or not, even though they might have felt sort of violated there, in the long run, they probably, if they were able to adopt that discounting as well, probably saved a lot of stores and kept their churn a little bit lower because of it. So in hindsight, as a vendor and all of that, I look at what Cox did and some of the others in doing that, and I think that actually ended up being good for everybody. So we'll see further down the road, but then you get into the reopening, and the reopening of the stores was crazy, especially in the most quarantined states. I live in New England and got to see it firsthand. It was like people who were tired of looking at their own wallpaper said, you know what? I would love to go spend 8 hours buying a car in a dealership today. So let me do that. And they
once we didn't have people complaining on the CSI reports for how long it took to purchase the car.
Right. So a lot of dealers also had laid off a number of people or furloughed them and didn't bring 100% capacity back. It was actually, from a management perspective, it was a good way to shed some heads that might not have been as productive, or maybe a little cancerous, or whatever the reason was. And so now you got customers beating down the doors for the first time in I don't know how long. Sales is outgrossing service, and you're just busy. So like, who's going to take a phone call from a vendor salesperson and go buy some new thing? And that
I haven't
sentiment
been.
continues today, and
Yeah.
it's almost it's gone a little differently because of the shortage of vehicles. Because now we're sitting back saying, "Oh my God, when am I going to have cars again?" If I only have 5 cars on my lot, why do I need to advertise? If I only have 5 cars on my lot, why do I need help with leads or whatever it is? So I'm selling everything I can get, and my people are twiddling their thumbs. So now I've got plenty of stuff for them to do, and they don't need help anymore. So it's that's caused the next wave of it. So the layoffs, July 23rd, this article about DealerSocket and OmniTrax, and what they're saying here is, source was saying it was like 35% of the company. Comes out to 860 employees.
Wow. That's a chunk.
That is a chunk. And so you take, it's stuff like this that's been published. There are other rumors out there that more of this kind of thing are coming. You hear about, and this is something I've heard, I can't say the name of these companies, but I know of some who have yet to hit even 50% of their projections this year.
Ouch.
Their sales projections. So, look at it simply. If I'm only hitting 40% or 50% of my sales objections, I only need 40% or 50% of my sales staff. So those are the kind of cuts and things that come. And I know that some of my sales staff is listening today, and don't worry, that does not apply to Frickin' Tech, but you are safe on that front. But anyway,
For this week.
this stuff's going on. Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone earned a 30-day job extension last month, so they're good.
Congrats. No, and we're experiencing those things here at the dealership. I mean, we've sort of going into it, it allowed us the opportunity to really cut back and run lean on the sales floor as well. And, thank goodness, we did, because the inventory just isn't there to support it. I do have some of my vendors calling. I haven't been getting a lot of new vendors calling and going after business. But I have, of course, the vendors that I work with right now, they've got something to upsell or something like that. But it's been sort of quiet, at least on this front.
Well, maybe that's a nice thing, because I'm sure your phone doesn't stop ringing.
I've got a few little tricks. I don't answer that phone. If you don't know my cell phone number, good luck.
I'll post that in the comments here. Hold on a second.
Yeah, let's not do that. No.
All right. So yeah, be on the lookout, and I would never ask a dealer to have appreciation for their vendors in this regard. I mean, it's a dog eat dog world, and we're definitely all in the battle and the fight. But at least have some understanding of what some are going through. And I think some of this may affect some of the support you may be receiving, some of the onboarding times you may be seeing. Morale could be low company-wide at some places. Just FYI, it's this is a result of COVID. It's going to have repercussions for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we see that with our customers. I mean, our online dealer reviews have always been top notch. I mean, I would actually beg to get a negative review for our dealership, because if you would go through and look at it, it's like, all right, there's no way, we come across perfect. There's no way we're perfect. So I'm always like, God, can we just get like a negative review just to make it look real? But here in the past couple months, I guess my wish was granted, because we've had a couple negative reviews. But the funny thing is, they're just silly. They're just stupid.
Well, that's the
And
best
people,
kind of negative review, right? You don't
well,
have
I
to
know
respond to that.
exactly. I mean, people really reaching down deep to come up with something to bitch about. It's humorous, but at the same time, it's, because you can tell people are just under pressure altogether.
I would leave you a negative review if your hair wasn't perfect that day, Jeff.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we touched on this for a moment. The inventory shortages, we all know. We all see it. You drive down Dealership Row anywhere, and it's apparent. But what is starting to become a little more apparent is that it's going to go a little further than we originally hoped. So this
What
is
makes you say that?
an article from yesterday. And look at that. I must have a nice tracking pixel on me for the data. But
I think so.
it works. So, so we had Drew Ament on earlier this month. And sorry, I was laughing at Chris's comment about your rug. But anyway, we had Drew Ament on, and we talked about some of the things that don't usually get said out loud. And one of those things was about the continued inventory shortage that it heard from various places that it was probably going to be more like Q2 of 22 before we start to see any normalization of inventory.
Mm-hmm.
And my hopes earlier on was that we would start to see some signs that, inventory was beginning to come back by October. But it's like, it's not looking that way anymore.
No.
Or it's not looking like it'd be that soon.
Yeah. Is it mostly just around the chip shortages, or is there,
Not solely.
logistics? What's going?
Yeah, that's the leading headline, as you can see here on Newsweek. Chips. But that's half of it. The other part is heard 2 weeks ago or so, and this was going around in a Facebook group I'm in, where Toyota and Nissan dealers were talking about a shortage of plastic because of a COVID outbreak in Malaysia, where the plastics were being sourced for their vehicles. And Toyota has now become a manufacturing conversation when it was looking like they were going to hold strong for a while. And I believe this article points out, just like some others, that GM has closed down a number of their factories. I think it's 8 factories. Let me just make sure I'm looking for that part of the article.
Yeah, I was reading an article about that this morning, matter of fact.
However, there we go. So Toyota said it would slash production by 40% in Japan and North America. So yeah,
it's a big percentage. My biggest disappointment is the fact that they are delaying the Cybertruck until late 22. Kidding.
Well, the other thing that's playing out that's not being heard too much, and I hear it's really abhorrent in Australia, and I feel like it's definitely occurring here because I'm noticing it in just online buying of regular things. It's been especially bad trying to get things delivered through FedEx to my house lately. They've been they can't get an estimate right on anything.
Really?
Yeah,
Is it mostly FedEx?
It has been. Now, it's mostly what we've been getting things through has been FedEx. So maybe UPS is having issues too. I don't know, but it's been so bad. I found a thread on Reddit in the FedEx Reddit room, and what some of the FedEx employees were saying that they've contracted out so much, and the contractors are having a very hard time holding on to employees. So they're very undermanned, And that's become a problem in many industries, obviously, across the United States. And then in Australia, they're having protests. So driver protests
Yep.
over certain government things. And
Keep it PC. Government things.
yeah. And
Yeah, I follow one or two people that are from Australia, and things are sort of crazy over there, man. I feel bad for them.
well, going back to what inspired us to do this show today, the No Agenda podcast, they like to say that Australia is about 6 months ahead of us. And I hope they're wrong.
I hope they're wrong, because it's not good. Yeah, that won't be good at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So next
selling cars will be the least of our worries.
So next one, getting back to some of the big names out there. So interesting that TrueCar is losing dealers, and I think if we've been paying attention, we know why. So I think one of the big ones was didn't they lose? Was it USAA as one of its
yes,
lead sources?
that was a while ago, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it takes time for this stuff to
True.
come to bear.
True.
Somebody might not be paying attention to, TrueCar lost USAA, but it takes a few months before they see, we're not getting as many leads, or the lead quality's gone down, or we're not selling as many cars, or whatever it is. But their revenue model,
But yet their revenue rises. Yeah.
well, and that's solely because the grosses on new car and used car sales is way the hell up. And we're going to touch on that with some driven data stats at the end here. So we'll come back to that in a minute. But interesting to see where TrueCar goes.
Okay.
And let's see what happens when things normalize.
I was also reading, maybe in that article or not, but
there's the comment. That's perfect. Ryan Montville out of Checkered Flag, who's in a Navy town. Yeah, so they lost USAA, teamed up with Navy Federal, and then hiked the rates.
Right. I do remember reading that. Huh.
Oh yeah, well that's a really good point, Ryan Everson. Stay tuned, man. You're going to be a star of this show today. But right, they don't serve a purpose when cars are a sticker. Yeah,
that's a fantastic point. Yeah, I know. Whenever I worked with Mile One, I worked really close with USAA, and that was before TrueCar was really part of the mix, and that was a big operation, huge operation. It was a big operation for the group as well. We sold quite a few cars through that every single month. So, having USAA under your umbrella and losing that's got to be a hard hit. I just thought that it already went through. I thought we would have already seen the ramifications of that a while back, but like you said, it can take a while. That also caused their, I believe it caused their stocks to take a nice little dump as well.
See what happens when inventory normalizes. Seems like that's our saving grace right now, is that it is chaotic. All right.
But as you pointed out, who knows how long that's going to be.
All right. I'd also like to touch on some friends from across the street. Literally, I can see their office right across through my window right here. And that's DealerPolicy. And man, you talk about a company that's exploding.
I know. I hear their name brought up all the time. Every time I'm reading an article, there's some insert in there about DealerPolicy.
It's a killer model. So when somebody converts over to insurance and you have been the source of that customer to them, they'll share the revenues with you. It's really simple. And they make it stupid easy. So it's not like you have to go create a team of insurance agents or anything like that. They just handle it all for you. You're just getting a lead for them. And
I wonder how many dealerships participate or not participate, but how many dealerships out there or small groups have gotten into the insurance business? I know here at this group, small group, I know the owner here quite a few years ago, maybe two, maybe three, got into the insurance game. I believe they still have a dedicated insurance sales rep as well, website, social presence, all that good stuff. I'll be honest with you, I haven't checked in on it in quite some time. Um, I should probably do that just to make sure. But yeah, I was just curious. I wonder how many dealerships. I mean, I don't know how much money's involved in that. I never really looked into it, but I would definitely think, of course, right now everyone's making money on cars, so it's probably not that big of a deal. But it's got to be.
Oh well,
I would assume it's a decent little revenue stream for dealerships.
let me put some really rough math on this thing. So, and to answer your question a little bit, back like how many dealers are in it, I only know of about 7,600, so not many.
No.
But and we are talking about car insurance, Drew, and Anthony. Yes, they are simplifying car insurance, not totally. Well, anyway, so it's a reoccurring revenue stream. It's not a one-time thing. So it's when a customer changes, or when anybody changes their insurance company, the average is they keep that insurance policy or stick with that company for 8 years. And if you're sharing in that reoccurring revenue yearly, it adds up. And as you put more and more customers into it, it gets really large. So by the time you've been in it for a few years, it can be a significant addition to the bottom line. Like if you think you're just going to, if you're applying your month to month mentality as a dealer and saying, oh, how much money am I going to make this month off of it? It's not going to work for you. But if you're thinking year over year and you're like, how much money am I going to make from this thing 10 years from now? Oh, yeah. You think about it that way, it's a big deal.
Well, it's always tough for dealerships to think in those terms a lot of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like some easy, maybe not easy, but some nice solid residual once you got that built up.
Well, I think DealerPolicy makes it easier. So Allstate was one of the first, and I believe your group went with Allstate, Jeff.
I believe so.
And I think there's a little more involved in that program versus DealerPolicy. So.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm not really familiar with it, but you are right. I believe it is Allstate.
So the news though is really, so they've teamed up with JD Power, and that they've been working together for a while. They've just added on Darwin, so now they're part of the menuing part of Darwin, who JD Power purchased a month or two ago, and so that's part of the news. They also just completed a incredible funding round. So I think that it's driven their value over $500 million. And, I just like little Vermont company over here. And and the founders of it are friends of mine. So I'm really proud of them.
If they're not, make sure they are.
They're super down to earth. We're not riding on the yacht yet, none of that.
Yeah.
We go bowling.
Good for them, man.
Yeah. All right. So next up, Kevin Hart.
Where'd this come from?
Well, so Rodo, what was the name of Rodo before? What did they roll out? Oh
God.
We worked with them for a little bit at DealerRefresh.
Yeah, we did work with them. They were a sponsor for a short while, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, they had the worst name, and then they changed it to Rodo. So, I guess what? I don't know, man. It may come to me. Let me.
Yeah,
you go on.
It doesn't matter. It's I've been trying to use Rodo just because they're getting some buzz, and I go over there, but it's just a damn lead gate. And the only promise is they're going to
Yeah.
give you like a lease payment.
Yeah.
I do recall when we were working with them, their interface was very simple. It was simple for the
It
dealer.
was.
It was simple for the customer. And it wasn't a lead gated system then. But you can't do anything on there until you give up your information. Terry, thank you. Honker.
Honker, that's
is what
right.
they were. Yes.
Thanks, Terry.
Yep.
I knew it was a bad name.
Yeah.
So what's Kevin Hart doing with him?
I guess Kevin's an investor. So I don't know. I didn't, and it's automotive news, and I'm, subscribed, and I don't want to scroll down the page and give up all their content because I think that's something they wouldn't like that. But I know the headline's fine because they allow that on social media. But I'm not going to scroll down and see like exactly what Kevin Hart's participation is. I don't know if it's $2 or $2 million. But it's. You're somebody of that stature with that money, you're going to diversify. And yeah.
Well, I know Kevin Hart works with Chase. He works real close. I remember seeing some article, and he actually did like this little documentary piece around Chase. So I wonder if Rodo has any connections to Chase Bank.
I think they're using. I don't know if they still are. I'm pretty sure they were. I thought they were using MarketScan at one time, and Chase is a part of the MarketScan network. So that's why.
Well, there you go. Yep. Someone made some connections, shaking hands.
Maybe.
Makes sense.
All right. Next up. Oh, yeah. So hold on a second. We're flipping through. We got through the end of the news, and now we're heading over to the DealerRefresh community and the news over there. So different segment here. Maybe we'll come up with some jingle or noise or something at some point and flip over. But yeah, so we're thinking here we'll do some news and then move over to DealerRefresh and what's going on over there. And first up on the list, the wonderful old digital retailing.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it's not a word that makes any of us want to frickin' puke. Not at all. But anyway, this was an old thread. I mean, this goes back to 2019, February 2019 to be exact. And John came in here and started this up. And what are your results with digital retailing? And it's got 12 pages of comments. Probably mostly from me because I'm a little long-winded on this crap. But one of the things that's seeming to prove true since this thread started and all the way to where we're at now with it, and I think John's begging for somebody to just share some numbers still. So 2 years, 2.5 years, nobody shared
after all this time.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder if someone's got to have some numbers to throw in there for sure, but I think that the biggest problem would be is like, how are you measuring? Whatever your results are, you should probably really lay down the nuances around how you are measuring those results.
Well, so what's important to you? So like you always say, yeah, Terry, you're right. No good numbers to share. Well, that's true. That's so digital retailing has, if it's a lead tool, which I think most dealers are now using it as, it's replaced the e-price form basically. So, you can sit back and say, oh, half our leads come from digital retailing, but then you go to the website and see, well, yeah, that's get your payment is the form, and the e-price form or check availability is nowhere to be found. So yeah, duh. It is. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So the second part, and the hardest one to measure, because I don't think that a lot of the digital retailing providers have a way of sharing it with their dealers, I'm sure they can track it, but I'm not sure they're sharing it in a way that's easily interpretable. And I can't say whether that's on purpose or not. You use your own judgment, but it's how many customers actually make it down the end of the tunnel. So when you enter, you're enticed by that get my payment. And then the next thing is, oh, it's a lead gate. Pfft, form in my face. I
Yep.
can't get anything. All right. So how many people bail at that point? But then the people who actually go a little further and then enter in the trade and then enter in the down payment, and it's another screen, and they enter in the whatever firstborn child's last name was when it was your cousin's roommate's kid, whatever the hell it is that it's going to ask. And then at the end of this thing, it gives you a payment. And if you want to get another payment, or you want to do a comparison between a lease and a loan or whatever it is, you got to back up. Or wish you brought your notepad and started writing the things down so you remember what you did, or put it in a spreadsheet of some sort just to keep track of what's been done. So, it's what we're seeing, what we're hearing is that even during COVID, the people who went down the tunnel without their sales agent on the phone guiding them through it was during COVID. It was somewhere, it got as high from some retailers or digital retailing vendors as 5%. Right? Since
That's not a big, that's not a big number though.
No. And since stores have opened back up, it's barely even 0.5%.
So do you think that's the dealership's fault? Do you think it's the software fault? I mean, you
Yes.
first mentioned it around the lead gate. Yes. The lead gate.
I don't blame the dealers.
You don't blame the dealerships at all.
No, this is
I don't know.
issue.
I mean, we've used, I think we've used 3 or 4 different ones. We've used 3 different beginning to end digital retailing solutions here at this dealership. Sort of maybe got quite an early start compared to some other dealerships. Just nothing really panned out for us. I know the Toyota dealership's part of this group. I think they've gone through maybe 1 or 2 solutions. I don't know what their results are, but I mean, I don't hear any buzz around it. That's for sure. And of course, right now inventory is so low, so it's not like even if they are knocking it dead, you're going to know the difference anyways. But most of those solutions I have used were initially, whenever they were set up on the dealership website here, you had that freaking lead gate. And, I'm like, turn it off. It's like, well, yeah, but, you might not get any leads. Like, I really don't want any leads from it. If I'm going to get a lead from digital retailing, I want that customer to be pretty deep into the process. I want to let's get them into the process.
That comment, by the way, it's
gone. But I don't know. The lead gate, you threw me off. But the lead gate doesn't make any sense. I want the customer into the process. I want to get them in. I want them in there, sort of taking ownership of some of the steps that they're taking.
Hold on, Jeff. Do you mean that people still buy from people?
Well, so I'm sitting here thinking, as earlier in the show, we're talking about all these new marketplaces, and they're it seems like what they're counting on to be successful for them is a digital retailing solution. Yet dealerships at the height of all this, in the middle of a pandemic where probably consumers had the most enticement to go through a digital retailing process, was right there and then. And, from what you said, the average was right around 5%. Now that most dealerships, or all dealerships, are back open.
The highest, not the average.
Yeah, the highest. So, and now we're scraping at 2 or 3%, if that. You see where I'm going. I don't want to knock anybody. I don't want to be a pessimist, but is that enough market share to bank your business on?
Especially not if your digital retailing tool is $2,200 a month.
Yeah.
That e-price form was free.
Yeah.
You just follow up with
So
a
I don't know.
payment then.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't
the
know.
other
I
thing
just, like I
is,
said, I never had any. We never had great success with digital retailing, and I think there may come a time where, and maybe that's what some of these companies are banking on is get into it now, because maybe we'll get there. Especially as it seems like the manufacturers, as you know, they've all got these lofty goals for EVs, electric vehicles. It seems like they want to desperately instill a different process uh, with these EV cars. You know, I don't want to say direct to the OEM, even though some of them are trying that, but more of a build. You know, be able to go in and build the vehicle and order it, sort of like the European model.
well, we finally heard from, I think, the second to the last OEM to pick up a digital retailing program. And they keep sticking my company in that digital retailing box. So we get these requests of RFP or RFI. And man, the list of requirements is, oh, it is like they want you to do like full transaction and hold the hand of the customer for the dealers too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's
it's a
crazy.
mess. Yeah. Well,
All right.
first off, you're working with the manufacturer, so that right there is always a mess by itself.
Well, and they're going to completely make it nasty because they're going to mandate certain things, and some are. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're a GM dealer and you want to have a certain solution in your site, you have to have shop, click, drive to, or whatever it is. And now you've got two buttons on your vehicles. And Ryan Everson pointed this out in the forums. Is that you've got like get your e-price, and then beneath it it's start your deal, and then beneath that it's a third other digital retailing tool called shop click drive or whatever it is. And
Chop, click, drive.
yeah, it's so confusing to the customer.
So they have two on their website.
Some have three,
Like,
just because GM buys something, the corporate office buys something, and um, the
sounds like breakdown
manufacturer
communication.
mandates something. Yeah, and that's a good
Yeah,
one, Alex. Pre-tail is a better way to think of it.
yeah.
Yeah. And you know what, Teresa? I told you yesterday when we were on the phone that we were going to call you out today, and we meant to go over your Refresh Friday a little bit. So you're getting called out now. And you're right. 3 calls to action equals bounce for sure. All right.
Bounce.
Well, let's move on here. There's even more important news than digital retailing. It's the most important news ever. Ryan Everson has become a cash
He's a
buyer.
dad. Mm.
No, I mean a dad.
Yeah, congrats to him, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Ryan,
Baby girl.
there she is. Yeah.
No, that's adorable.
Fantastic onesie.
Yeah, that's classic. I wonder if you had that special made, or if that's something that they sell at the dealerships or something. That's great.
Congrats, Ryan. We hope to have you on Refresh Friday soon too.
Yeah, I reached out to him last week, but I guess he took off a couple weeks to introduce her into the world, and I think he just got back into the office yesterday or something like that. So we needed some time to settle in. We've got he's locked in for the last Friday of September, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, good. You got him
And
hooked.
so we're going to have Ryan on, and we've got 2 other dealerships. We may all together have 3 dealerships, three groups joining us for that Refresh Friday to discuss basically around. I think the topic is going to be around bringing the pros and cons of bringing your marketing in house, especially if you're a small group or a large group.
So the 2 of us and 3 dealerships, that will not be a shit show at all.
No,
No one will talk over one another. Not once.
No.
All right. Well, Ryan also is starting the third-party marketplace war,
But
calling it out. So I believe this is what Ryan's going to come on and talk about a bit. Also, along with
yeah, that's gonna. Yep.
Yep. And so Jake at Cars.com, Jake Whibbler, that's when you should catch up with us ahead of time. He hit me up about this thread.
Okay.
Anyway,
So what's interesting about this one is, so where does Carvana come into play with this?
well, why don't we
Because
save
you got
that
Auto Trader
for,
Cart. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, let's save that for that
I
Refresh
was
Friday.
handing you a, yeah. Well, I thought I was handing you an easy segue, but I guess not.
Oh, duh.
Wake up, Alex.
All right, you got me.
Couldn't tee that up any better for you.
Yeah, so Carvana, or as Jeff likes to call them, Carvana.
Carvana.
And Jeff, explain to everyone why you call them Carvana.
I don't know. It's that Welsh language that we have here in southern PA, northern Maryland. I don't know.
Oh, I
Is that-
thought you
is
were
that the
just
answer you're
trying
looking for?
to give them your respect as a dealer.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So a while ago, and I know Todd Caputo at the Used Car King was participating in it. And since he sold the Used Car King, I'm not sure what they're doing now. But Carvana.
Well, Greg Spencer over in the forums, he had started a thread, I think last Tuesday, and I believe we had actually had the conversation in another thread that was a little bit separate of that topic. But he went ahead and reposted, which I'm glad he did. And he was asking if any of the dealerships out there is listing their inventory on Carvana, because they had, I guess they had a little experiment going on where dealerships, they were signing up particular dealerships that wanted to be part of the experiment to allow their vehicles to be listed on the Carvana website.
Hold on a second.
And
Somebody
then-
at cars.com should get a screenshot right now.
Well,
You got Ryan putting out the comment about how much he likes cars.com. He's featured in the ad right here on the page too. It just happened to be right above the ad. Anyway,
you know, I know Alex is probably still watching this. We definitely need to get, and I know we've got cars.com slated for the future here, but you know, they're one of the originals, if not the original. And seeing all these other players, and I know, you know, they've seen so many marketplace companies come and go. But it's always interesting whenever you see, you know, you sort of see a small flood, or so it seems, are going to be trying to get into the same game. I don't know. I try to put myself in their shoes and be like, you know, when do you take one of those companies serious?
like
Or
Rodo.
do you just go, yeah, exactly.
Well, let's.
I mean, I wonder how many times they've rolled their eyes. I'll be like, yeah, right. Good luck with that.
I doubt Alex has ever done that.
No.
So moving on.
But yeah, well, back to the Carvana thing. So they were getting with particular dealerships, and dealerships were allowed to list their vehicles on Carvana. And I guess on the Carvana website, they would somehow identify those vehicles without identifying those vehicles, as in where they're at, what dealership they're a part of. And I guess they had some different verbiage around those particular vehicles. But yeah, I'm curious, and that's what Greg was asking. It's like, are there any dealerships still out there? So if there are, if you do know of any dealerships out there that are sending their inventory currently to Carvana, jump over in the forums, and because Greg's asked me, I think we're all sort of curious if that experiment is still playing out, and if so, what is there any success around it?
Yeah. So for our last topic of today, and definitely get over the forums and heed Jeff's request. That's a commandment. The is driven data. So the DR Truth, John Berna, who's a regular on Refresh Friday, because not only is he pretty sharp, and his team is as well, but they are sitting on a lot of information. And they've done some pretty cool things with their databases to be able to bubble this up and share those insights. And recently, John built a whole page on his website that shares some things. I know he's going to build this out a lot further, but he shared with me a few evenings ago some of the numbers that they've got right now, and actually gave me permission to share it today. So let's throw some numbers out there. So first off, let's caveat that Driven Data has hundreds of clients, not thousands, but I do believe that their hundreds are certainly enough to be enough of a model for, or a wide enough database or data range to support the numbers here. And I think a lot of dealers will find that they're pretty in line with these. So according to John Berna, Driven Data, the average store has 51 new cars in stock, and it's all about increasing used car supply right now. So I don't think anyone's going to argue with that second point. So the average days to sell a new vehicle is 31 days. The average days to sell a used vehicle is 39. So as we head into the winter months, it's probable that the average days to sell used cars is probably going to increase, especially if we start to see signs that new cars are coming back again. Here's the part that really floored me, and there's a second component to this. The gross profit is up $864,000 from 2020. And it is up $976,000 from 2019. To add to that, the service dollars are up over $600,000. So there's some fat and happy dealer principals out there right now.
Oh, for sure. No doubt. I mean, we've been selling our cars at MSRP sticker, and that's actually pretty gracious compared to a lot of the other local Benz dealerships. Well, not local, but down the metro area. I mean, they're going every new Benz is anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000 over, if not more, depending on the model.
Well, the average dealer, Jeff, across the nation, and this spans from Hyundai to Mercedes, is averaging over $4,000 in gross per vehicle sold. Here's the other part I think is pretty neat, is that consumer equity. And so when you look at the ACV of the vehicle to the payoff mixed with the down payment, this was very interesting to me. So consumer equity in their trade has been $4,300. Right? They are
so
also.
Are you?
Hold on. There's
are
more
you pulling
to
this up on this?
No, I'm not putting this up on the screen. No,
Okay.
this is John's data. I'm just reading it.
Gotcha.
But the trade equity is $4,300, and the average down payment is $1,800. So I'm approximating those. He's got exacts, and that means that the average consumer has got $6,000 to $7,000 to play with when they're buying a car right now. I don't know of any finance manager who would ever like that.
No.
Also of interest on the trades is the average trade has 10 to 12,000 fewer miles on them than normal. So, John believes this is due to people not driving because of COVID. It could also be that there's a fervor out there, and like oh my God, it's the best time to get rid of my car ever right now. Let me just do it.
It's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people, for example, I know my wife, her mileage cut down way back, and I've got a couple of other friends that are actually, sort of, I don't want to say they're road warriors, but they commute back and forth to work, and they just, had a good solid year of not having to commute. And I mean, that right there is an average of 10 to 12,000 miles. So it makes sense.
The other side to it is the average odometers on vehicles sold has gone from an average of 40,000 miles to 53,000 miles. So that's a sign of a lot of used car acquisition going on.
Mm-hmm.
Service volume is back to pre-COVID levels now. So in Q4 of 2019, there was an average of 2,138 repair orders per month amongst driven data dealerships. And just recently, it's getting back to 2,136. So just two ROs off. However, the average RO has gone up $22 in profit. So you take all that service business. Yeah. Yep. And people have to hold on to their cars now. It's really hard to get into something. And so now you got to do that service. And on top of that, this is outside of driven data. Data is just normal. This is out there for public consumption. It's that the average vehicle on the road has now hit a high of 12.1 years old. And the crazier part in it is that a quarter of those are older than 16 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's kind of funny. My driveway is kind of like that right now. Not the 12, but I've got a car that's definitely in that territory. It's a fun car. And then the other side to the service equation is that due to many things that could be going on, could be furloughs, staffing reductions, although I don't know how much of this really happened in service departments, but could be other things we won't get into today. But most dealerships are down one full person. So their overall labor capacity is diminished 8 to 10%. So you've lost 40 hours of, somebody turning a wrench.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pretty good state of the industry from John Berna based on their data. And I really want to thank him for sharing that with us.
Yeah. Is there a way... Did he just share that with you privately, or is there a link for people to access? Does he what's he got going on?
No, I'm sure I'm going to get a hate letter after this. Like, dude, you weren't supposed to share that much. But John, we want to, really want to show you off, bud. I think that you've got a hell of a product, and
I use it.
People, right? You're a client. We work with it very closely, and I think more dealers should buy some driven data. So
John's got some awesome people working there. Our rep Jessica, she's amazing, dude. Absolutely amazing. And just the data, everything. I mean, I don't want to sit here and plug them, but it's.
I just did. F it.
I know.
Do it.
When you get the. Yeah, it's just the dashboards and everything. When you get the opportunity, if you do get the opportunity to take a look at it, you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, Ryan Thompson. We can talk about Alex, some watches, man.
Yeah, you watches. Yeah, Alex has his own thread over in the forums around watches. So I enjoyed this this format. How about you?
Yeah, it takes a little more work to get it all together. So if anyone's got something in a future episode you think we should cover, love your suggestions.
Yeah, I'll get the recording and stuff of this over into the forums. I forgot to put the original post. I got busy last night and didn't get it over there. So if anyone's got any suggestions, that would be the place to stick it.
So get on to the forums. If you missed any pieces of this, it's all recorded. You can go through and check out a scene. You can send a clip of this off to Rodo or somebody else and get us in hot water. You know,
That's true too.
Yeah. So, hey.
And you brought it up earlier, but don't forget to mention. Well, we're just going to mention it now that we've got Refresh Friday is now being syndicated to YouTube, Facebook, of course, where it always has been, and also on LinkedIn.
And although we're a little behind on the podcast ones, they also you can listen instead of watching us in case you really are disgusted by our appearance. So on that note, everybody enjoy a phenomenal Labor Day.
Yeah, that's right. It is Labor Day coming up.
And we'll see you guys next Friday.
Enjoy.
Speaking of which, next Friday we have Facebook on.
Yes, we do, don't we?
We do.
Who's joining us?
That's Bob Lannon.
What's his name?
From Facebook.
Bob, that's right. It'll be fun.
All right. Till then, folks.